What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Only the Greatest Podcast. My name is Philip, the owner, creator, founder, whatever it is that you want to call that guy who makes stuff up. I'm here with my longtime best friend since we were kids, has seen Only the Greatest become what it is now. Darryl, introduce yourself. Tell them who you are. Tell them what's up.
I'm really excited to be here, Phil. But I feel really disappointed that I lost my title of co-host. We agreed that I was the co-host right before we started. Or host, co-host, whatever you want to call it.
Co-host.
And then I lost it immediately. But anyway.
That's on me.
I'm excited to be here, man. We've been talking about this for a long time, dude. And it just feels like it's nice to see something like this come to fruition. And man, we're starting. This is day one. This is episode 1 of the OTG podcast, man, and I'm pumped.
Yeah, I'm super pumped. Actually, on my way over here, I was thinking about it and just kind of thinking about, the whole journey, which we're going to get into in just a second, so everybody knows. In case you're wondering, like, what Only the Greatest is, we're going to tell you guys in just a second. I was just thinking about, years ago when we were kids and stuff, how I never fathomed being in the position that I am or we are now. It's just so crazy to even think about. And I guess on that note,
long story, a lot of details, man.
Yeah,
we're gonna get to all of them.
That's
eventually.
Right. Yep, for sure. So I don't know, man. Why don't we just start with kind of telling everybody what Only the Greatest is? And I'd like to hear. I don't know if I've ever asked you that before. Like, what does Only the Greatest mean to you? Because obviously I can tell everybody what it is, and they'll hear it and like, well, of course he thinks that or whatever. But what are you from an outside perspective?
Yeah, I think it's important. I like that question, but it's important to. Yeah, people may look at you and go, oh well, of course, he is the owner and the creator. Of course, he's going to say that it's great.
Right,
he
exactly.
It's a good thing because he can benefit from it financially, or he can gather a following from it. So, different perspective. Man, Only the Greatest to me. It really represents a relentless pursuit of greatness in the face of adversity by what I would consider to be an average guy from an average background. Got this idea, had this mindset that, maybe he's destined for more than greatness, and in the face of adversity, he went against the status quo, pursued your dream despite the odds, and just watching it, I've grown. I've had a lot of personal growth just watching you chase your dream, man. So I don't know, maybe you call it the American dream, maybe you call it chasing the dream. I call it a relentless pursuit of greatness in the face of adversity by an individual who refused to accept the status quo, man. And that's what it represents to me. When I see the logo, when I see my hoodie, when I see your building, I think about it every time.
Yeah, so. And that's really the thing. I want people to, when they see the logo, and guys, if you've never seen our logo before, basically what it is it's OTG, right? Only the Greatest, and it creates a pyramid, and at the top of the pyramid, obviously, is an arrow that goes up, and what we believe at Only the Greatest is that you create the foundation of your life through health, through fitness, through confidence, and all of these great pillars of life. And then once you do that, it's to infinity from there. There's no limit. The arrow goes on forever. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what Only the Greatest, that's what the logo means. And I really, like you said, when I see the logo, this is how I feel, because that's really what I want. I want the logo to be kind of like a household name. People see it and they immediately think of greatness for themselves and everyone around them,
Yeah. I mean, you see it and you think of a base, a firm foundation, right? A pyramid starts with a big, wide, broad foundation, and you work your way up. And but this pyramid keeps going.
Yeah,
it goes forever.
It goes on forever because you have that strong foundation.
I like it, man. I like it a lot. And I guess since we're talking about the logo, that's kind of segues into. I guess it could segue us towards the root. How did it all
Sure.
How did it all start? And I think OTG and this is, I'm going to tell you from my perspective as a bystander, right? As a fan on the outside looking in. Obviously you're a regular guy who had a vision, right? So it was kind of an idea, right? OTG was an idea. I remember you telling me, man, I got this idea, and we kind of talked about it, and then it became a saying. We would start saying it to each other. Hey, it's last set, man. Make it the greatest one. Only the greatest, right? That's all we accept. We don't accept anything other than the greatest, right? Anything outside of that's unacceptable. And then it was kind of a hashtag. I think we use it as a hashtag.
We use it as a hashtag. I still get my memories like on Facebook and stuff,
Only the greatest.
From before the gym was ever a thing. Yeah. And if you guys don't know, we do have a gym, OTG Fitness. It's right in Webster on the south side of Houston. Because Darryl, we used to work out together and stuff. But we would take photos at the gym or whatever and post them.
And we'll get to that. The fitness is the foundation, right? That's the big broad foundation you see on the pyramid. And so it was a hashtag, and then it became a place. It's an actual place. You can go to Only the Greatest. You can actually, it exists.
It's a physical, it's a thing.
You can touch it, right? It's a thing. And then I think now we're in this transition phase of not only is it a place and a hashtag and an idea and a saying, but I think it's a movement and a lifestyle. And I know we described it as a pyramid, but I remember recently Phil telling me about how you've kind of, it's taken on the shape of an umbrella in some ways.
Yeah, and, for sure.
And OTG is the umbrella, right? And you have all these pillars, but I think no matter how you look at it, it's it's a movement and a lifestyle that it's not only a gym, it's not only fitness, but it's everything you do, strive for greatness in it, whether it's your financial life or business or investing or fitness. It goes on.
Pretty much my initial plan and what Darryl's kind of referring to is, Only the Greatest is this umbrella brand that kind of has multiple layers and pillars to it. And, we're in the very beginning stages of this, so it's just what's going on as I'm thinking about what Only the Greatest is. But basically, OTG, you have the fitness aspect, which is currently an actual
foundation,
thing.
the base.
It is
where it started.
Supporting itself, OTG Fitness. But then you also have, like, the OTG, like, I'm not a financial advisor or, like, anything of the sort, you know what I mean? But
maybe you will be.
Maybe someday, who knows? But there is a financial pillar to Only the Greatest that is very important, because you have to have that financial freedom, to be able to do the things and to really be able to pursue the life that you want.
Financial freedom. I don't want to say correct you, but I want to change that to financial discipline at least, right?
There you go.
To get you to the financial freedom, it starts with the discipline. You got to have just like the physical discipline, right? And it grows from there, right? And so carry on. You got the financial side, so you got the fitness, the financial.
We have like the and along with financials, like investing, right? So you have to have your proper investments. They kind of go together. We also have the OTG apparel, right? And then you have the OTG supplements. I mean,
shaker cup.
Come on, guys!
It's
Only the Greatest. It's I'm not saying this because I made it up, but like it's the greatest name that anyone's ever had. Think about it, like Only the Greatest pre-workout. You know what I mean? So that's just another pillar, to Only the Greatest, and there's a lot more.
I think they can be infinite because everybody has a different opinion of what's important.
Right.
And which is very valid, because I think that greatness is self-defined, right? So
for sure,
some people, if they're a great parent, that is achieving greatness. Some people, if they're a business owner, that is achieving greatness. Some people, if they build a career making X amount of dollars per year, that is greatness.
Some people just doing the best at their job. I don't care what you make, like be the greatest at it, and eventually you'll make your way.
Some people buying a Ferrari is greatness. Perfect.
Awesome.
Whatever is greatness to you.
Yeah.
Or let me back up. Greatness is self-defined, and it's subject to it's all relative to the individual.
That's right.
And
that's really important I think for people to understand, because I have a bad habit of comparing myself to people, but I'm a lot greater of a person today than I was X amount of time ago.
To the old you.
That's right.
Now we're going to talk about comparison on another.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, getting
on another podcast.
Tangent,
so, you want to cover the purpose of this podcast?
Yeah, let's do that. As you see, Daryl's the one with the notes.
And I got some stuff jotted down. There's some stuff scratched out. I got notes all over the page, but hey, these are the greatest notes.
That's
right.
Here.
Yeah. So I think the point of the podcast is, or the purpose is, we're going to try to bring some type of value, and I think that so I'm a serial podcast listener. I listen to the Milettes and the Frisillas and the Gary V's and all those people of the world. And while they're great and they have great ideas and they've achieved greatness, and maybe they came from humble beginnings, this podcast it represents the average individual who has the vision, who's working towards it, because you and I are currently both in that stage, right? I think it's a lot easier to relate to the average, because you look at a Frisella or Ed Milet or a Gary Vee and you go, oh, well, it's easy for them to say they got it all figured out. They're mega millionaires, which might be true. Maybe make them a little bit harder to relate to sometimes.
Right.
While they're great, I love listening to them.
Me too. Yeah.
But and you might see me quote them here and there. But this podcast it represents the average person or below, that from the average or below average background, that just has this desire to be more, and who has this tenacious. They want to create something, right? They want to strive towards greatness, and maybe they don't know where to start, or maybe they feel like they're not destined for that because they came from an average background and they've been surrounded by averageness their whole life, and they think that is their destiny. That's where they're going.
Right, and we just want to share our journey that we've been through from that, what I would consider definitely, below average, and not to say that it's far beyond average or anything now, but it's a whole lot. I never imagined a few years ago being in the position that I am now.
20 years ago when we met.
You know what I mean?
Wow, I've known you for 20 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
So, we're going to prove and document.
Yeah, that's right.
The journey from average or below average to greatness, our version of greatness, and we're going to bring y'all along for the ride.
It covers all aspects, from, like we talked about earlier, from the fitness to the mental health, everything that goes along with it. And I'll be the first to admit that I'm definitely not, the best person to take advice from, but I've been through a lot, and I just hope that somebody can hear the story and relate, and then hopefully make a better decision with their life because of one thing that I said would be
one thing that we say in one podcast helps a couple people or one person, then I think we've kind of accomplished
100%.
And so hold on, you touched on something a second ago. Okay. You talked about the childhood, right? So I think it's important to illustrate where we came from. I think so. Everybody gets the idea. People that don't know us get the idea of just what we're talking about when we say average or below average.
Yeah.
And the mindset that created, and how we kind of broke the chains, right? Or are breaking the chains one at a time.
Attempting. Yeah.
You want to talk about your child, or I go first, or
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and see.
Okay, so I mean, I was I was middle. It's four siblings, right? I was a middle child of four. I say middle. I have two brothers and a sister. I'm the middle boy. I got an older brother, older sister, me, and a younger brother. We had a split home at a young age, right? My parents split. I don't have a whole lot of memories of life before they were split. Some stuff here and there, that I can kind of key in on and remember. But most of my life, vast majority, my parents were split from a young age, and I had a alcoholic dad who was let's just say that he wasn't very dependable, to say the least. God rest him. He's dead now.
I remember the days of like, because Darryl, he lived across the street from me, so that's how he moved in across the street from me, and I remember you would always tell me about your dad coming over, and then
he wouldn't come.
He wouldn't be there.
And God rest him, he's dead now. I loved him to death. He loved me to death. But so we got middle child. There's 4 of us. To say that we didn't have a lot of money would probably be an understatement, right? Split home, alcoholic dad. My mom worked a lot. She tried her best. She was in a couple of really, really terrible relationships. And, it kind of bled down into the family life. And it created this odd tension, throughout the home. And, it was just not a good situation for a lot of years. However, through the parent split, so we lived in a different town, and through our parents splitting, upon my parents splitting, we moved to Texas City, which is where I met Phil. So a little bit of perspective, right? If my parents, I guess they did split, right? So while that's not a good thing, something good did come from it. And I met my best friend. I think we were, 8 or 9?
Probably.
Comfortably 9
elementary school, so
9 at the oldest.
Yeah.
I could think we can agree on that. So we moved to Texas City where I met Phil. Didn't have a lot of guidance. Like I said, my mom worked a lot. When she was around, I think she was really caught up in this these bad relationships that she was in. And she's a wonderful person, man. And I think that it was just hard on her, man, and so it was hard on us, and so not a lot of guidance,
right?
Kind of stumbling through, making our own way, and made a lot of poor decisions growing up. Not the best decision maker even up through high school and several years after.
Let's talk just briefly about the vehicles.
That's different. That's going to be a different podcast. It has a lot of different vehicles.
Yeah. That's just something that always
we could do a vehicle podcast.
We probably could.
Let's talk about the OTV vehicles.
Anytime I tell someone about us in high school and stuff, like Darryl's string of vehicles.
Look, man, there was one vehicle. I used to have a driving jacket. And it was a big puffy Longhorn jacket that was really warm and waterproof because my sunroof or my T-tops leaked. And there was no weather stripping in the car, so when it was cold, the wind came right in. Different story. All right, I had a crappy car. Yeah, a couple of them. A lot of poor decisions. Man. I'd say, to put it frankly, I was unsure of who I was for many, many years. And while I'm still working on that, I can say the last few years, I've really started to tighten my grip on who I am and what I believe in, and I've experienced a lot of growth. At this point, I've been working in the I'm an oil field hand, Houston, Texas, working at the refinery. I've been there 10 years now, or longer, probably right at 10 years. Been in the refinery for 11, 10 years, probably in the trade that I'm in. And, I've managed to, through hard work and I guess you could say attendance, just showing up every day, showing up every day and trying my best. I've managed to build myself up to where I'm in a pretty good position that I'm proud of. I'm married now. Shout out to Jess. Love you. And we'll talk about that on another podcast too. Sure. I would call myself a small-time real estate investor at this point, with intention to grow.
Right.
So yeah, man, that's where I'm at now. And that's kind of why I'm excited to start. I wish maybe we just started this podcast
a long time ago,
a while back, but this is where we're at now. And also now on my resume, I'm a podcast host.
Ooh,
that's part of our resume now. So hold on, let me
jot that down. Podcast host. Very nice. Now you've made
it there on the. It's right there on the where we're at now tab.
Yep.
So Phil, while I know the story, let's hear a little bit about Phil. Enough about childhood Darryl. Let's hear about Phil.
Yeah, so I mean,
Phil didn't have a driving jacket.
No, had no driving jacket.
He had a riding jacket when he had to ride with me.
Yeah. So I was the only child actually to a single mom. So I've never met my dad to this day. I actually found out a couple of years ago that he never even. I have a couple of brothers and a sister that he never even told them that I was in existence.
Right.
So I found that out a couple years ago. It stung a little bit, but it's all good now.
His loss.
Oh, 100%.
Carry on.
100%. And
humble opinion.
So I had a single mom that we just had the greatest relationship, and unfortunately, she was not of the best health. She didn't take care of herself very well. She would like drink on the weekends, and there's nothing wrong with that or anything, but she
didn't have a healthy lifestyle.
She was overweight. Yeah, didn't eat well. You know what I mean? I grew up overweight myself. And but anyway, she died when I was 15. She was 36 years old, and that had just a huge impact on my life. And
me as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my mom was definitely like the cool mom. You know what I mean?
She wasn't one of them. She was the coolest one.
Yeah, and
I smile every time.
So
we'll talk about that another day too.
Definitely. So obviously that had a huge impact. And I actually went quite a pretty kind of a big depression after that, that I didn't straight up like, oh, my mom died because she was overweight, so now I'm going to lose weight. No, it took about 5 years from 15 to 20, before I decided to. And really when it clicked is when my grandparents both started to kind of dwindle.
Right, because so when your mom was no longer in the picture, your dad was never in the picture.
Right.
So the grandparents kind of had custody, right?
Yeah, we had already lived there. So when I was 10, my mom lost her job.
Yeah.
And so for a few years, we had already been living with my grandparents anyways, and, due to financial restrictions of my mom. So that just goes to show you that we really didn't have anything. I mean, I haven't thought of. Really, I don't really think about this all that much anymore, but I remember at one point my mom getting excited about getting a job like at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Could you imagine being a single mom and being happy about having a job at all at like a
perspective?
Yeah.
We're going to do a whole show on that.
For sure.
Very important.
So
Christy had the perspective.
Yeah.
Some people may go, oh, coffee shop job. Yeah, okay, cool, Mrs. Barista. And she's going, I can feed my kid.
Yep, that's right.
Right?
Yep.
Perspective.
For sure.
Carry on.
So,
grandparents kind of
my grandparents kind of...
who also didn't live.
Yeah, they both died in their early 60s, all health-related.
old.
That's very young. So 60s is very young, but all health-related. You know what I mean? And so...
Well, lifestyle related, right?
Yeah, lifestyle related. That's a good
Yeah.
point. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And basically, they passed away way before they should have. And that's actually, Darryl had been my best friend for a long time. But at that point, as you could imagine, like I didn't really have anywhere to go. I have 2 uncles actually that are awesome, that are really great, and I love
Shout out.
And I love them very much. But when you're young and you feel like you have nowhere to go, you turn to your friends, because I didn't have any brothers or sisters. So,
not true.
I got one right here.
Yeah, me.
And so yeah, I was talking to Darryl, and he was like, "Hey, dude, we have this." Their house is actually kind of weird. It's kind of funny to think about. Like, it's kind of laid out. It has like this extra thing in the back.
It was a
garage.
So it was a house, and the previous owners had added. They extended the house, and they put an addition on the back for the husband, who was a cabinet maker. So it was his workshop. So it was a big open area.
Oh, okay.
And so what we did was we used it to
never
build.
Knew this.
We used that big open area, and we put 2 walls in, and we made a bedroom.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then so that it was still a big open room, and so Phil calls me that day, and actually he called me in the night, I think, and was whenever you told me Papaw passed.
Yeah. Okay.
So
yeah.
At some point he called me, and of course I'm like, wow, hey, sorry about that. I loved Papaw too. God rest him. But my brain goes immediately, well, what's Philip? That's where Phil lives in that house, and it was not in your name, and I didn't know how. It says, hey man, living situation, what are you gonna do? You need to come, right? And it's like, well, we don't have enough bedrooms. Oh, we could make another bedroom.
Yeah. So we called up Luis. Right.
Shout out Luis. If you need some work done, let me know. He's a champion. Carry on.
So we called Luis, and within like 2 days, he had a freaking room built in the back of the house.
Use the existing two walls.
Existing two
put
walls.
Up 2 more.
Yep. Put a door on there.
So this giant workshop ended up being 2 bedrooms facing each other. One was mine, one was Phil's.
Yep. And it was a really unique living situation. There was no like central air back there, right? So remember where the washer and dryer was, where the bathroom was. It would be freezing,
or hot,
or super hot, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then each of our bedrooms, we had our own little window units in there. And I specifically remember in my like every day you had to drain that thing, and it was so annoying.
Sometimes it would just spill over on the floor.
Yeah, I lived for almost 4 years. In like a 12 by 12.
I don't even know that was that big.
I don't know.
10 by 10?
Bedroom.
An AC that didn't
With
rain.
an AC that, yeah.
Humble beginnings.
And so this is like, I did that for a few years, and it was really good because it allowed me to, at that time I was kind of working my way through my job. I had found fitness at that time, and I had lost about 80 pounds, and it totally changed my life. So as I was, figuring out what I was going to do with my life, I was able to save some money, and so I was really grateful to be able to stay there. But eventually I did end up buying a house in League City, moved up there, and that's, to be honest with you, I had just started personal training, so my entrepreneurial spirit was kind of starting, right?
Right. Well, at this point, let's pause there. This is a great. This is a couple. There's a couple things that we need to touch on here, and none of this is in the notes. So you were living in a spare bedroom that we had built in a workshop at my house, basically.
Yeah.
You were working full time. You saved up all your money. Now hold on. Let's back up again. You're living in the workshop. You're working full time. You start personal training.
Yeah, I started.
So you got 2 jobs. Yeah. You're going to school.
Yep, full time.
So you're going to school full time, saving his nickels up. So he's able to put a down payment on a house after 4 years, right? Mm-hmm. So 4 years, folks. So at this point, you're still personal training. You're still working full time at that point, and you bought a house, and now you're having this drive in you, right? You're having this, this restlessness.
That's when like the wheels really, you know what I mean? They start turning because you're like, whoa, I can achieve this thing.
Right.
And, that really all goes back. The only reason that I had that confidence is because of fitness. Like, the commitment to a fitness lifestyle, to be healthy, I lost about 80 pounds. And, that journey is the same journey that you put in at your job, and you work your way through the ranks. You know what I mean? It's all the same thing. It's when I made that correlation that I decided to start personal training. So I get off work at 5:30 and I start training. And then also at that time, I had really big ambitions for the company that I worked for.
Yep.
It was a great company. I had a great boss, a guy that I really, really looked up to. We're still friends now.
Great guy.
For sure. I really looked up. He gave me the inspiration and told me that, showed me, did more than tell. He showed like, this is possible. This guy dropped out of high school. You know what I mean? And now has a full-scale business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just crazy.
Plenty of money.
Crazy to me. So, it really gave me a lot of inspiration, but I didn't love it. What I loved was helping people. Mm-hmm. And, there's definitely ways to help people in all industries. Even at the refineries, you can help people.
Absolutely.
You can help people by managing them and making sure they're doing their work and keeping their jobs, right? That's helping people.
Well, telling them my story, how I started in this position and now I'm here and it's taken me 10 years. However, you can do it, right? Also, avoid these things that I messed up along the way.
Right.
And I think that is a very important topic to discuss briefly too. So we're talking about the podcast. We talked about the beginnings. You've worked your way up. You're at this point where you're not loving your job. You want to help people. So you quit your job, right?
Yeah.
And you start working on building this business, building this gym, OTG. And, we talked about your old boss helping you along the way. And let's pause real quick and get to the point I'm making is this podcast is, if we tell one story and it helps somebody who's in pursuit avoid something, hey, guys, watch out. I did this thing, and it's not as good as it looks on paper. Avoid it. You avoid one obstacle, right? That, and now, so you're growing like this, slightly above linear, and we tell you, hey, avoid this obstacle, a
little faster.
It goes
I mean,
faster
honestly,
now.
I feel like I could write a playbook. You can probably sell it for millions on like what not to do.
At 29 years old, we could both write a lot of things. I could, you know what? Do a podcast on what not to do.
I know a lot of what not to do in a lot of different areas. But.
So Phil's got this confidence. He's lost 80 pounds. He's this fitness. Everybody knows him for fitness, right? He's training people on the side. He's helping people. He's working full time, but he has this confidence and this fire in him. And he quits his full-time job. He quits, no job, no income.
Yeah, that
to
was
chase
scary.
this dream of only the greatest fitness. So, which has grown now, but it's important. It's important to note that. Sometimes you're going to get uncomfortable on your pursuit to greatness.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Quit your job, you start the gym, and it's grassroots, right?
You got to find a way. It's just all there is.
A lot of
to
roadblocks
it,
in the way,
I mean?
man. Maybe we'll do a podcast on how to start a gym one day.
Yeah,
and what
dude,
not to
I
do.
can tell you everything not to do.
Yeah.
For sure.
Did
but
it.
no matter what happens, like you figure it out as you go. And the thing is that if you have confidence in yourself, you'll take that leap.
Right.
You know what I
That's
mean?
an important note to
And
make.
a lot of people, and I don't know if this is important or if it even relates or not, but a lot of people they think that, people that own businesses or whatever, like that, they have a lot of money or whatever.
Must be nice.
Yeah, must be nice.
Lucky.
That is one of my most hated sayings.
Lucky.
Must be nice.
Lucky.
And yeah, that one too. Lucky. Like,
what was it nice? Laying awake for months after you quit your full-time job with a couple $1,000s in the bank trying to figure out how you're going to trade that for a gym.
Yeah, and
that's not nice.
No, it's but
while it was a personal choice.
But if you have the confidence in yourself, you will find a way. There's a way out there for everybody to make it. Sometimes it's going to take longer, shorter, it doesn't matter. But it's possible.
Reverts back to relentless pursuit of greatness. To you, at that point in time, greatness was having your own gym.
Yeah.
And it evolves, right?
Well, I think that everybody has, for me, that's what it was. But everybody has something in their life that is kind of different. Like, people talk about their passion, like following their passion. And while that's kind of true, what I've noticed is that your passion can be shaped by what gives you, whatever gives you meaning. I guess that's the same thing as passion, but it's still different. It's like, that's what was available to me. I already had clients at this other gym that I was training at. So it morphed into, that was my way into freedom.
I think what you're
into
looking
my own
for
thing,
here, I think what you're looking for, Phil, is evolution. It evolved, right? It
Yeah.
started as an idea, and then it was a saying, and then it was a hashtag, and then it was a place.
Right.
So you quit your job and you're going, wow, I want to open a gym. That's greatness. So, okay, I already had the clients. This is available to me. I got a little bit of money. I'm going to open up this gym. And so now your gym is open and you're going, okay, the gym's open. We're trying to grow it, and you're pivoting and you're evolving, right? And I think that's something important to notate too, is sometimes your perspective is going to shift.
Oh, for sure.
And your definition of greatness is going to shift, right?
Yeah, on that note, whenever I first bought my house when I moved out, I thought that it was cool, and I thought that it was good, and it was so great. It was
great.
It was cool until the bills started rolling. I was like, whoa, this is more than I thought. Right. So I ended up renting out the bedrooms. Remember that?
Yep.
I rented out my bedrooms.
Yep.
And so I was staying in this really... I had a 4-bedroom house by myself, so I rented out the extra bedrooms for cash flow. And I was like, that's when I discovered real estate. Now, there was a point in time where I thought real estate was going to be my thing, and I was just going to keep working my regular job.
Maybe it will be.
And yeah, who
you
knows?
Won't have a regular job,
but the point is that it shifted.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
it
evolved, yeah. Because for a long time, I really thought that real estate was going to be like my pathway to freedom and my retirement and all that good stuff. But that is totally changed now. You know, I don't even think about what's retire. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Very, very important to note that your definition of greatness will evolve, and so will you.
For sure.
And you will change along the way. So, you know what, Phil, let's go ahead and wrap this one up.
Sure.
And, you know, speaking of that word change, we're going to do a show here soon, and we're going to talk about change and the dynamic that comes with it, and how from a person who's changed a lot to people who have changed a lot, what advice we can offer, how we perceive it, and what, you know, back again, what our experiences have been with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let's close on that note, man.
Actually, I want to close on a note that just so we can listen to this years from now. It's Friday night. It is 9:45 at the moment.
What's the date?
Friday, January 22nd, 2021. We got here at what, like 9 or so?
Yeah, but the lady was vacuuming outside the door. It was all loud. The camera wouldn't work.
We didn't get over here until, there was all these things. And, you know, honestly, right before we were doing this, and that lady was out there vacuuming, and her vacuum was making the most ridiculous...
banging into the walls,
most ridiculous sounds I've ever heard.
So we sat here and talked about what we were going to talk about
for
about an hour.
It was probably like 20, 30 minutes.
We were relentlessly pursuing a great podcast, and there was no vacuum that was going to keep us from recording an awesome podcast.
I was so close to saying, dude, let's just do this tomorrow.
Ain't happening.
I'm so glad that we did it, and I think that with that, like that just kind of ties all this together. You know what I mean? A lot of times you feel like you shouldn't do something, or, you know, you don't feel like it, but sometimes you got to dig deep. Into what you're really feeling. You know, we wouldn't have came in the first place if we didn't want to do it. Right. We wouldn't have set up these cameras and this microphone and my laptop and this table and rented this office.
Yep.
You know, if it's not something we wanted to do. So you have to take a step back and just remember that.
So if you're an individual, specifically an average individual from an average background, surrounded by averageness, but you have a burning a desire, I guess, for greatness in you, and you are interested in the perspective of two other average guys surrounded by averageness that want to grow to greatness, stay tuned, man. We have more stuff coming your way. And remember, greatness is self-defined.